Here we are. This is our two candidates for Spokane Public Schools, position 4. This is a 2-year term, but it's just as important as any 6-year term because there's a lot happening in Spokane Public Schools right now, as you know. And my first question for Kevin, and for both of you, but Kevin goes first. What do you think is the most important priority right now facing this district?
Well, I've been asked this question obviously before. I think the number one priority is going to be budget. And without the budget being aligned and looking ahead for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years with our budget, nothing else is going to happen. The training isn't going to happen, the smaller class sizes that we all need, the increased trainings that we're all asking for, I know in the classrooms, none of that will happen without the budget. So to me, the most important thing that we have to hit the ground running on is working with the legislature, working with our federal government as well, who funds a good portion of the budget, and our community to make sure that we have a working budget that is in the black for the future.
I have to agree the budget is the most pressing issue affecting everything. For me, I think that it's beginning to become really clear that we're gonna need a levy to help support the classroom sizes. The teachers are speaking out. They are concerned about the classroom sizes right now. They are having safety issues. And so from the budget, like that would be the top priority for me, making sure that we get staffing back up to where it needs to be.
All right, so given what you just said, I think both of you could probably answer this in 2 sentences each. If we could try and, so we could get more topics covered. Kevin, I'll just ask you, under what circumstances would you support a supplemental levy?
Under what circumstances would I support a supplemental levy?
Correct.
Well, we're going to need a supplemental levy to make it through, obviously. I guess I see we have an opportunity in April and we have another opportunity in November. And my understanding is that we can make it through the next year, given the current way the budget is, at least through November. So I would certainly see giving the time to let the community understand why we need it in November.
Erin, do you know when you would prefer to go for one?
Well, I would prefer to have it be November, but I have concerns that we need one sooner, specifically because I was concerned when we started to have the prospective staff reductions. I knew that 1 to 35 students at high schools, sometimes that's fine. Sometimes you have a group of students that 35 students is not going to be an issue, but there are a lot of classrooms in Spokane's high schools that 35 students is a catastrophe, it's a danger, and it means that students that need more attention and direction to prevent behavioral escalations aren't getting it. It also doesn't leave a lot of staff for supporting the teachers when there is a behavioral escalation. Those are really important issues. So we may need one sooner, and if I'm presented with enough evidence that it's a critical need, I will support one sooner.
Okay. One of the big issues we've faced this past year is the loss of librarians, which I think many people have been very upset about. And I guess I'd like to ask you first, Kevin, what's your, as far as a priority, if you can't have everything, but you want those librarians, what would you be willing to cut in order to accommodate that and bring those librarians back?
Well, I think that's a great question. First of all, the 75 minutes of lost class time, which equates this year that we've lost, which equates the librarians, what happened to them. I look at that as a number one priority. And if as far as cuts go, my understanding, and I have looked at the budget closely, and I know the budget, having worked there the number of years that I did, I know where to look, and I think the numbers are going to be there to get those 75 minutes and get those people back into their positions for this coming school year, beginning next school year. So As far as additional cuts that are going to happen, it's really hard to predict that far ahead in advance, and I wish I had a short answer for you, but between attrition and retirements and issues that'll be coming from the state or funding that could come from the state in January, I have to leave it there.
Erin?
I think that it's beyond just the 75 minutes. That was a critical loss for students and education time. It also is a bigger challenge for teachers to try and make sure they're getting their personal time and their professional time each day. It allowed students to be away from their teachers for just a little bit of time each day. So I think it's really important, but also, again, it goes back to staffing. Librarians are a unique type of staff, and I think every school needs one, a dedicated one. But they act as a staff member, so again, they can act as a support staff as needed for when there's other things. They're eyeballs on our students, they're people making relationships with students, and all of those things help improve culture and reduce the amount of risk for safety and behavior issues.
Are we at audience questions now? 1 minute? All right. If we can go quick, I will ask something quick.
I'll try. We're going to go quick.
I know I'm
We're going
messing this
quick.
up. On the issue of disciplining students, is the district on the right track? Erin, can you go quickly?
I do think the district's on the right track. I like the new discipline policy, but it comes down to whether we can actually implement those policies, and those policies require space and staff and resources. So again, we're on the right track as far as policy, but again, we have to start figuring out what that practically looks like.
All right, Kevin?
Yes, we are, but once again, it comes down to that budget, and that budget's going to equate to training, because just because a memo is sent or a policy or procedure is dictated or applied to or voted on, it doesn't translate into the classroom necessarily, and we're going to have to train around those new discipline policies.
Okay, it's time for audience questions. Anybody have one? Please. Yes.
My name's Patty Grandos, and I'm a part of a group that focuses on reducing gun violence. And we support plans that include threat assessment programs, security upgrades, emergency planning, and creating safe and equitable schools. We do not support arming teachers or school staff for several reasons, including accidental shootings, confusion it causes law enforcement, and the worry that students of color and students with disabilities are more likely to have force used against them. If you do support arming SROs, I have two questions. How will you ensure that these issues would not be a problem? And how would you pay to have highly trained SROs placed in every school in the city, especially considering we can't even afford librarians?
I don't support having arming teachers or arming any school personnel. We are an educational education is our mission, not law enforcement. And I don't believe having a weapon is going to change that inside of our schools.
I agree. I also don't support arming CROs. I do support some general gun safety. Recently, we had students who found a gun in society. Actually, students are at much bigger risk outside of society, but the big thing about improving safety at the school is with staffing. So CROs, they cost money, and arming them, that's extra liability insurance for the district. It's not real clear how much money they would cost in benefits and wages. There's also their supplies and resources so they can maintain their skills. So I would prefer to use the already trained and in place police officers and come up with a clear policy about when they respond to the school and what that looks like.
Any other audience questions? Okay, we're moving to trivia. All right. Are you two ready? 5 questions. Yeah, whoever rings the bell first gets to answer first. Okay, question number 1. This is multiple choice. What was the name of the first high school in Spokane? North Central High School, Hilliard High School, or Lewis and Clark? Erin?
North Central?
This is actually not right. There's one more.
Oh, yeah. Or D.
The answer is Spokane High School.
Yes. Thank you. Kevin. Trick question. Sorry, Erin. Okay, question 2. Actor Craig T. Nelson attended which Spokane high school? Kevin.
I'm sorry, was it high school?
Yes.
Lewis and Clark.
Yes. You got it. Question 3. 3 elementary schools are actually located outside the Spokane city limits. Name one of them.
Woodridge.
Oh, I'm sorry. According to my cheat sheet here.
Oh. Do you know another?
We're going to need an answer.
Mullen Road.
Oh, yes. You got it.
Okay. Yep, I didn't know.
Oh, Linwood, that's, yeah.
Question 4. What was the last district school to win a state football championship?
Lewis and Clark.
No, I'm sorry.
Ferris.
Ferris. 2010.
Got one.
Last question. Who was president when the current Sacagawea Shaw and Glover Middle School buildings opened their doors?
Oh my gosh, seriously?
Yes, Kevin.
I'll take Eisenhower.
You got it.
Wow.
All right, that's the end of trivia. Let's hear it for our candidates.